everyone for joining us. We're so happy to have Nick and Simon here to chat about what it takes to build a call e-commerce brand. But before they jump into it, I want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Ashley and I lead partnerships here at Refersion. For our guest today, we'll be handing it over to Nick and Simon, and I want to share a bit about them. Widely known on the internet as the D2C guy, Nick Sharma is a 24-year-old D2C investor, advisor, and operator who has both assisted and led revenue growth at multiple organizations, including Hint Water and VaynerMedia. And Simon Huck is the co-founder and CEO of JUDY, a safety brand focused on providing families with the tools and resources to be prepared for any situation. Simon is on a mission to improve emergency preparedness. And last but not least, I would of course love to thank our sponsors, Tapcart and Yotpo, for joining us in this event. So Nick and Simon, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So Simon, to start off, or as Mr. Simon, like I call you, tell us a little bit about, what JUDY is. If somebody didn't know about JUDY and just heard the name JUDY for the first time, like what is JUDY? How did you come up with it? And why did you create it?
Hi, Mr. Sharma. This is so fun. We get to do this. Maybe a little context is helpful. So I began my career 18 years ago working in entertainment marketing, and I've spent, close to 2 decades helping make other brands famous through the power of celebrities and influencers. And a couple of years ago, I had a little bit of an existential crisis where I thought, wait a minute, why am I not doing this for my own brand and a brand that is, cause related, something that I have a connection to. And around this time, I had 2 friends in California, Southern California, who lost their home to a wildfire. And then I have family in Florida who were in kind of this large scale hurricane situation, which resulted in them losing their home. And the common denominator in both of these stories was just a fundamental lack of preparedness. So both of these people didn't have any sort of physical product to prepare them for an emergency. They also had no idea what to do in the event of an emergency. So it was this kind of perfect storm, if you will. And I started spending a lot of time with my now co-founder, and we looked into the category of emergency preparedness and thought, why are so many American families, and the stat is shocking, 60% of American families are underprepared for emergencies. So that began the journey of kind of 18 months of development, and then we launched JUDY on January 26th of 2020.
That's awesome. And as you thought about building it and launching it, how have you guys thought about customer acquisition channels? Where are you going out to find customers, knowing that it is such an event-driven business, and how have ambassadors or affiliates become a part of that mix?
So it's a great question. So, we have all the food groups of kind of marketing we have tapped into. So obviously PR is huge for us, earned media, organic, celebrity, and influencer relationships at launch, and then throughout all of our different product launches. One of the things you learn around emergency preparedness, and I think a lot of other brands have this as well, is you're tapping into something that creates a movement. So there's a community movement. When someone receives a JUDY, it is a reminder to them and their community, wow, we need to be prepared. So oftentimes we have celebrities and influencers who we may not even have a relationship with, who are getting on their social channels and talking about our brand because they think the greater mission of community preparedness is so important. So that's been one piece of it. Obviously paid marketing, and Mr. Sharma, you've been so heavily involved in JUDY's success there across all those different channels has been huge for us. Search engine has been huge for us. SEO has been huge. We've really looked into everything. But when you think about influencer and brand ambassador and those partnerships, one of the things we were missing at JUDY, which Refersion has been so critical, we could not figure out a way to find influencers who were in an emergency situation and were able to talk about our brand kind of pre-emergency, post-emergency. So we've now built out this incredible affiliate marketing program where we have ambassadors in areas where they're especially vulnerable to natural disasters and emergencies. And when a tornado is happening, they're able to use the JUDY, and then post the emergency, they're able to talk about it. Having that content is so important because one of the things around emergencies is no one wants to talk about emergency. It's like going to the dentist. It's anxiety inducing. It can be stressful. So JUDY's made it kind of headache proof, but we need surrogates. We need brand ambassadors to talk about the importance of having it. So Reversion has been critical for that success.
Totally. And would you say that the influencers and the earned media and the ambassadors is what has also driven the organic following of Judy, or would you say that the organic following was driven by something else?
It's always hard to figure out like what is your secret sauce. I think we've had a lot of love and following from the community because we've learned that they want emergency preparedness information, but they want it preparedness light. They're not looking for really heavy content. They want it kind of drips and drops. And they want it in something that's digestible. So never has Judy ever stood for fear, but we've been really, really careful in providing kind of empowering tools of how to get yourself out of situations that could be murky. So what are the resources? What are the plans you can do? Even if you don't buy a Judy, we're still going to send you content that's free of charge. You're going to download guides on our website. You're going to go to our social channel for all the things you need to do to build out your emergency plan. And that information is free. So it's up to you to then activate it. And Judy's social and, even our paid, it all ladders up to that.
Yeah. And I think one of the other key things too is like Judy's just always educating. It leads marketing with education versus like, come buy this.
Right. Exactly.
So as far as like influencers go, obviously you're Mr. Hollywood, like you are Hollywood.
Oh God, Sharma, please.
Everybody with a blue check knows who Simon Huck is, and every brand wants to work with Simon Huck. How did you think about incorporating ambassadors and influencers into the marketing mix in a way that is strategically done versus just kind of like blasting everything out on a single day? I mean, I think every time Judy drops a product, before Judy spends $1 on pushing that product, everybody already knows about it from one source or another. Like, is there anything you can share around the influencer strategy specifically for Judy? If a brand doesn't necessarily have all the connections, how could they also go about it?
Well, and I think that's like the really important question, because I get this all the time from people who say, oh, but I don't have the connections that you have in entertainment. How am I supposed to do this? I really believe in the human approach. I believe that every single early stage or late stage founder should be getting behind their social media, reaching out to celebrities, micro influencers, nano influencers, whatever you want to call them, macro, sending them messages and sending them product. Developing relationships with them. You can't rely on your partnerships coordinator or your marketing associate. You as a founder need to start reaching out to people and spreading your message. And I don't think that enough founders are doing that, because I think there is this level of intimidation around celebrity or influencer. Oh, I don't have a connection to this person, I shouldn't reach out. In fact, I've seen many celebrities, like I myself go behind Judy's Instagram, Sharma, you've seen this, where I just start reaching out to people. Oh, there's someone living in an area that's vulnerable to hurricanes. Maybe they have 10,000 followers. Maybe they have 5,000 followers. Maybe they have 2 million. I will send them a DM from Judy's Instagram and my own Instagram if they don't respond. I'll even drop a note in their comments section saying, hey, I sent you a DM, would love to connect. I think the human approach is so important when it comes to influencer strategy. Another thing I would say, which is really important, there should be no expectation when reaching out to influencers or celebrities. The biggest mistake you could make is send a package or send a product or a message and expect that celebrity is going to post or endorse your product. I get that all the time. Someone sends me a product and they say, looking forward to seeing it on your social. Oh, could you die? It's like the approach needs to be, you're doing this to build a community. It's not to force product down people's throat. There's a really kind of graceful way of doing it and developing those relationships. I have sent product to people and never heard back. I sent two emergency kits, which cost us money to send. Day 2 of launch, over a year ago. Just yesterday, the person posted their Judy because they lost the power in their home. They were in an emergency situation. And they said, wow, Judy really helped us. We used our hand crank radio. So, the long game is, that was 14 months ago. But I think you really have to look at it as this ecosystem and, all the different things moving. You can't look at it as a one-off.
I think like forcing of like nobody wants to do what they're told. It almost has to come naturally to them.
Yeah. Like I just had a PR person who sent me a package 2 days ago, follow up. It was, I don't know what it was, like an upside down latte, whatever it was. Just following up to make sure you received it. I'm like, no, I received it. Like, I think there's a way of building a community in a way that doesn't feel forceful. And I think regardless of the level of celebrity or influencer, or you should be handling it in a way that's really professional and doesn't feel forceful.
From like a social standpoint, is there anything you would do from a brand account instead of a follow-up? Would you go leave a comment on somebody's post that aligns with, like, if somebody posted something and dropping emojis as a comment, as a reminder instead of actually following up?
Yeah, I think it's hard to, like, there isn't one answer for you know the entire kind of dilemma around influencer engagement. I think people who do a really good job are really strategic about it. They identify influencers who are already in their community. If their brand is centered around better for you products, they're looking for influencers who are already tapping into that. Oftentimes, I know for me, I love to try new products and things I'm passionate about. There's a lot of things that I love. I love wellness products. I love sleep products. I talk about it all the time. So I'm super jazzed to receive a sleep product, do a review on it, and talk about it on my social. There are those moments where you're sending product to someone who's clearly not the right fit. They may have a
Mhm.
great following. And I think that's something we're really mindful of, Judy, too. We are not sending product to people who don't feel like they would use an emergency kit, or it's not something that they would kind of have in their everyday life. So we're mindful of that. We want to make sure that, like, our message is authentic.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And also I've definitely seen a few of Judy's ambassadors on TV where a Judy kit shows up like in the shot of TV, but it was never posted on their socials.
Right. You see it like lurking in the back or
Yeah.
in the garage, and you're like, "Hello, Judy, I see you."
Cool. Okay. So we got the ambassadors established, how to reach out to them. How do you keep them incentivized? Is there like, are you personally reaching out from your account every month and just saying, hey, how's it going? Is Judy reaching out? Are you guys sending emails? Like, how do you keep them? Obviously there's commission from when they
Right.
make sale and use their link, and
Right.
there's proper tracking and whatnot. But like, as a brand, do they become friends, or how does that work?
They become friends of the brand, and I think that's when your team, it becomes really important. For example, when we got the news that we were Oprah's favorite things in December, we went out to all of our affiliates and shared that news in real time. So we share the big wins with our whole community to make sure that they feel involved. When we know a product is coming out, we ask them their opinion, their feedback. We include them as part of this rollout strategy. We're launching so and so product. What do you think? How should we approach this? They're actually speaking to their community directly every day about our product. So it's important we have that feedback loop. I think the worst thing you can do is just kind of silo them off and only tap them when you need them. I
Mhm.
think it's every part of the funnel is part of the influencer game.
And when you think about these people too, is the measure of success, is it just by the revenue and the sales they drive, or are you also looking at like the community they're building around your product for you, the content they're putting out, and maybe even bringing back to you?
To answer your first question, yes. We obviously, you want to have an ROI, you want to have success on what you're spending. But I think what's even more important is looking at it as this kind of robust 360 plan. Oftentimes we have worked, and I'm talking outside of Judy. I've worked with talent and I've cast them for a campaign, and maybe there wasn't a huge ROI on that campaign from a sales perspective, but from a brand building perspective, it then allowed us to access other people that wouldn't have considered so and so brand had this person not done this partnership. So everything is a layered effect, and everyone, it's really hard. And Sharma, I'm sure you deal with this all the time, like attribution. Like,
Mhm.
why did one person make the decision to buy this? Where did they see it? So I think, and a lot of marketers really focus on, okay, but what was my return of investment? I spent, $50,000 on influencers in Q1, but why is my return not equaling out? I think it's the wrong way to look at it. Yes, you
Yeah.
do have a return, but I think there's multiple success metrics.
Totally. One thing that I think so many people are confused about is, let's say you find an influencer or a creator or somebody with a following who creates good content. From the point of them agreeing to work with you or post or do something, to the final product, how much involvement are you pushing on like how much are you pushing on what they put out versus are they supposed to come to not supposed to come to the table, but I guess how much creative freedom do you give them? Like, do you give them guidelines or a sandbox? And then as long as they play within, they can speak to their, like, a great example is that Texas storm when we had an ambassador post all about that. Like how many guidelines do you give to somebody? Are you giving them full
So
storyboards? Or are you basically
you
saying
give
these are the do's
them,
and don'ts?
yeah, no, it's a great question. I think we give them a very, I don't want to say general because there are specifics. There's kind of the do nots,
Mhm.
things that we never want to use kind of fear as a tactic to talk about our products. We're really focused on kind of positive messaging, empowering messaging, but you give them a brief, but you do allow them the creative power to post things organically. We during Texas, we had a family that documented their experience of losing their power, and they were a longtime Judy customer. They became an affiliate through Reversion. So it was a huge success story for us. They lost their power overnight. They had no access to TV. They had to use their hand crank radio, which is in the Judy. They received an emergency alert in the morning telling them that their water was contaminated. And that saved them, their whole family, a family of 6, from drinking contaminated water. And so not only did they talk about Judy kind of for weeks after the experience, because it became such a life-saving tool for them, they already were a part of the Judy community. So they were able to talk authentically about what Judy meant and what this kit meant for them. And a lot of the times when you think about just emergency kits, you think, oh, it's a physical product, but really it becomes the genesis for the conversation in your family around emergency planning. The kid arrives and suddenly you're talking to your kids about evacuation plans, about what to do when you can't get a hold of mom or dad. So I really look at it as a way to build surrogates for your brand.
Totally. And last question. So coming out of this pandemic, going back to things like pop-ups or experiences in real life, how do you think about incorporating ambassadors there?
We are definitely want to do it. So we do preparedness nights. We have these kind of mom and dad preparedness nights where think like Big Little Lies. We have some wine. We bring our preparedness expert and we talk about emergency planning and all the things you need to do within your community. And we have learned that to do this, to make this more of a community social event, actually generates more interest. So we're speaking to some of our affiliates, some of our influencers, to actually host those in-person events either in their backyard, inside their homes, pending COVID. But that's already happening. I think it's really important to have those immersive event moments. And it's something that we have on our calendar for summer and early fall.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Simon. I'm sure everybody really enjoyed this.
Pleasure.
That was wonderful, guys. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Really, really appreciate it. Anything else, Nick or Simon, you'd like to say?
No, this is so exciting. This is fun. I mean, anything with Mr. Sharma.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I wanted to thank you guys again for the great, really insightful and valuable conversation. I know that the guests are really going to enjoy it. And then also I wanted to finally thank our sponsors, so Tapcard and Yotpo. Thank you guys again so much.